Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, so hi Mom and Jeff. We're gonna give you guys a tour of the farm. This is our address, 6060 Holiday Road. This is the mailbox we just put in with some flowers down there. So yeah, me and Kennedy are gonna take you guys around the farm and show you what's what, and Blue Dog's gonna help. Blue, out of the room. Come, Blue, come. Blue, look. Come here. Come. Come, Blue. Ready?
Ready.
Okay, so this is circle number 1. Okay? So what we have in this circle is we've got pumpkins and melons. We have some sunflowers right here, which we thought were gonna die recently, but they actually popped back. And then over here, we've got potatoes, tomatoes, beans. Oh, tomatoes are down here. Those are potatoes. But as you can see, we've got over here these pumpkins that are doing awesome. And then circle 2 over here, we have some very overgrown raspberries that are hiding inside the weeds over there. And over there we have some blackberries that are doing the same. We're gonna do something different with them next year. We're actually gonna mow them down so the weeds don't go all crazy on them over here. Then over here, this is an experiment we did a couple years ago where we buried plants in pots in mulch just to see if they would stay alive. This here is the eastern redbud. We've got little boxwoods down there. We've got emerald green arborvitae, and we also have a peach tree, and this one right here is a cherry tree. So eventually we're going to transplant all those and move them up closer to the house probably. But the whole key, or the whole idea in that, was just to bury everything and see if we had to do anything to it at all. And for the most part, we don't. But we've got lots of plants that are doing real well that need to be split. These are sedums. They're gonna get flowers later in the year. This over here is Rose of Sharon. Oh, yeah, and then right here some cypress, but we haven't really touched them at all in a couple years. So our experiment in trying to find out whether or not the mulch was a good idea definitely worked. So over here we've got some Alberta spruce dwarf that also have been in there for like 2 to 3 years that we haven't touched at all. So we need to get those moved and planted as well. And then these here, these are apple trees that Rebecca's mom bought, and those will eventually go in the ground over by the pigs. And here comes Rebecca. She's getting ready to mow around her melons. So circle number 3 is where we have our blueberries. And we netted all the blueberries a couple weeks ago. So if you look through the nets, you can see that there's a bajillion blueberries. And once they get ripe, we're gonna have so many blueberries, it's gonna be ridiculous. Look at that, that's crazy.
That is a lot of
I know. But let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows of blueberries. That's a lot. I mean, we're gonna have so many blueberries, it's just, it's a lot. Last year, the birds ate them. So we got the nets on them real early this year. So hopefully everything works well. This one row here is mulberries that have never produced fruit, but we're hoping because we netted them this year that they will, but it's more of an experiment. We don't know if they will or not. We'll figure it out. In between the blueberries are cherries and I can't remember what the other plants are, but none of those have ever produced fruit either. I think it's cherries, maybe plums, and peaches. But yeah, so we're not sure why they aren't producing. Maybe it's the area, maybe they just are plants that aren't gonna produce. I think the graft died on some of them, so it might just be all rootstock. We'll see. But so that's it for down in the circles as far as what we're growing. So we're gonna go around and show you the first set of bees, which is out in the field.
Ready?
Okay, so this is our Blue. Get away from there, you're gonna get stung. Blue, get away. So this is the first beehive that got set up here. When it first started, it was only 1 box. And then Paul, I think you remember Paul, he came out and set up the second box on top so the hive could grow. And now there's a 3rd box here, basically because this hive is doing real well. But obviously you can see in there, there's a lot of bees. And this is a perfect place for them because they have this whole field that we don't cut, full of wildflowers and all that stuff. So that's probably why these bees are doing so well. So this is beehive number 1. Okay, so this is what we call the campsite. Right now, we have a lot of stuff on the actual where we have campfires because we burn all our stuff here too. So we've got the campfire area where you would have your fire. We have a picnic table. We also have electric, like if somebody wants to pitch a tent and, you know, just be able to light things up. We have an electric outlet that works. But what some people do as well is Paul and Marianne were out here, I think 2 weeks ago, and they actually set up hammocks between the trees, and they basically camped inside the hammocks. But yeah, this is a nice place. It gets real dark. It's completely covered. Uh-oh, Blue just caught a mole.
What?
Blue, come here.
Blue!
Come here, what do you got, boy? So yeah, Blue also, Blue gets moles out of the ground. So he just caught this mole. I'm assuming it's dead already. But there's a lot of moles around here. Okay, and then these are apple trees. There's about 20 of them. They're in different rows like this, and they're different kinds too. Like this one is a pink lady.
That one must be a wine sap.
This one's a wine sap. This one's a yellow delicious. So we've got like 4 in each row. So here's 4, This one actually has 5 in this row. This is a pink lady. This tree here, hey Blue, this tree here has to go because it's kind of in the way of all the apple trees. But there's 2 more apple trees here. This row has 3. And let's see. This is only the first summer that the trees have been in the ground. But some of them have little apples on them already. So hopefully next year they'll have a lot more apples. Now I know there's one here. Oh, this one's a little bit bigger too. Blue!
Oh.
Stella, cut out.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. I mean, not super big, but big for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're all apple trees except for this one. This is a peach tree. And I'm probably gonna plant 1 or 2 more peach trees along this line as well. Here's another good looking apple. So, yeah, there's a few apples there. There were a lot more little apples at the beginning of the season, but these trees are still young. So hopefully next year we'll have a lot of apples. And then the year after that, a lot more apples. So, we'll just play it by ear. And there's the apple trees. Now back this way. Under this right here is one of my compost piles. So I'll just turn this every once in a while and then hopefully I'll have good compost there. This is just some potting mix and stuff that I got. Miracle Grow, stuff that I got pretty cheap. This stuff was $1 a bag last year. So I've got it under this tarp here and I use it slowly for potting, but also we use a lot of the decomposed mulch and I sift it for the plants as well. And there's just another pile of a different kind of potting mix that I got for. We got more of the emerald green arborvitaes, which I potted these up I think the end of last year. I got some strawberry plants there as well. But we really don't pay attention to those because they seem to get eaten all the time. This is another red bud that also came from the mulch circle down there that we bought on clearance. And this one I actually put in the ground and it's actually grown up pretty well. So in the springtime, the branches on these get flowers all over them before it actually leaves out. It looks pretty cool. These are Japanese holly or sky pencil holly. Got those on clearance as well. Plan on trying to propagate those. More Rose of Sharon. They were overwintered. They looked like they were dead last year, and as soon as the weather warmed up, they leafed out and they'll end up flowering later. Over here we've got knockout roses that I also want to try to propagate and make new plants out of. I got a whole mess of those that I got on clearance as well. They were only a couple bucks each, but I should be able to make a bunch of plants out of those. This here is 3 different kinds of willow that I got. I think they were like 80 cents a plant. So come winter this year, hopefully they get bigger and then I can cut the tops and make new plants out of them. These here are hydrangeas, PG hydrangeas. I bought those for I think about 80 cents each online. So we're gonna let those grow up as well and turn into something bigger. These are black-eyed Susans right here that Rebecca grew from seed. Typically when you grow a perennial type plant from seed, you may not get a flower the first year, but next year I expect them to do well. Now these are ornamental onions. They get a nice pretty flower coming out of them. But all of these plants right here, they came from 2 plants. Basically, again, we had them in the mulch down there, and I brought them up here, and I cut them up into separate individual plants. So 2 plants is now 30 plants. Over here we've got more of the plants I got. These are Wagelia over here. And I gotta look back and can't remember what these are here. I have to look back at my list. But we've got red twig dogwoods in here. We've got Japanese maples in here. Some more little experiments. This is a really green, emerald green arborvitae that seems to be doing really well in the shade. He also came from down there. Now this is my biggest Japanese maple. Right here, I grew him in a half of a 55-gallon barrel, and I've got landscape fabric, so when the roots run out, it doesn't get root bound, it stops them, and then throws out new roots. So I think that's why he's doing so well, because I bought another one at the same time, and he's in a regular pot, and he's not nearly as big. So we've got Techni arborvitaes. This is a different type of arborvitae, so we'll see how these do over the next couple of years. These lilacs are doing real well now that I have them buried in the mulch. They're real, they dry out really quick. So they were drying out a lot before I put them in the mulch. Now they're doing real well. I'll probably cut that up and make new plants as well. These are more hydrangeas. And then in the back there are more apple trees that were started from seed. Then here we have more willow again. And here are a bunch of different types of boxwoods that came from cuttings. And then the back row here are all a type of dogwood, red twig dogwoods. So we just leave them in there, let them grow, and then hopefully when we decide we're ready to finally sell, we'll have propagated a lot of them, and that'll be hopefully what we're doing. So we're going to show you the lounge up here. These are more hydrangeas across the front of the lounge. I believe these are either all summer. I think they're all summer hydrangeas. This is our lounge. This is where we have a fire pit. We can sit out here at night or in the morning. Here's another one of my Japanese maples. This is one with the red bark. This is kind of a rare one. So I've got it in a pot just to show it off a little bit. So hopefully it'll grow into a nice plant as well. This is the neighbor dog, Stella. She adopted us. She
Stella
belongs to the people across the street, but she lives here. So we've got some more potted up hydrangeas. Real big pink heads on these two pots. We actually just trimmed them up the other day and cut off the old blooms. We're going to try to save the seeds and start all those from seed. And we're going to go up and take a look at some of our other potted plants and some that are in the ground. As you can see, we have matching cars and then my truck, which I've never driven down there. So we have various plants here. We've got sunflower seeds, or sunflower plants, daisies, viburnum, wagelia, more evergreens up here. Up here we have mums. which I need to try to split and turn them into more mums. But these were here all winter. Looked like they were dead. Came back. As you can see, they got tons of new growth. These are hostas over here. 2 different kinds. These were just big clumps, and I just cut them up and put them in new pots, fertilized them, and they're doing great. I'll probably split them again this year. Get as many plants as we can, so like I said, when we're ready to sell, we're ready to sell. Back here we've got stuff that we want to get into the ground. We have to keep watering it, obviously, but we've got more hostas, which need to be split. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it's crazy how much is in one pot. More hydrangeas. Willow, that's doing extremely well. These are huge. Those will turn into a lot of new plants there. More Rose of Sharon, Wagelia. Let's see, Spirea. We've got cone flowers, which Rebecca started from seed. Another hydrangea bush. What's interesting about this is it comes up in one trunk and then it just explodes out from the top. These are all the azaleas here, which we're going to go and plant under some pine trees because they like acid. These I'm not sure what I'm going to do with yet. Got these on clearance as well. These are forsythia. They need to be repotted at minimum, but I'll probably end up cutting these up, making new plants out of them as well. Oh. We have a bunch of cats. So one of the cats just had kittens.
Blue.
Leave them alone. Oh, they're all feeding over here on Mama. Okay. Here you go, Mama. So as you can see, we have cats, more cats. This is kind of the grill area here. This is where we try to cook out as much as we can. That up there is the cat nursery, and as you can see, there's
only one cat.
Nope, there's 2.
Oh, 2 cats.
Little kittens up there. They probably went out and want to go play with their mama. Blue, no. Blue, no. As you can see, we have tons of honeysuckle. We have, there's a magnolia tree that we planted last year. We weren't sure if that was going to make it, but it seems to be leafing out okay. That up there is the catio that the cats sleep in when it's cold. Over the winter, they'll just pack into that and keep warm. Now, all over the property here, we have wild raspberries. All over. I mean, they're just gonna ripen up, and not sure what we're gonna do with them. We may eat some, we may feed them to the chickens, but they're everywhere. And there's a ladybug. Oops, right there. Oh, flying away.
Ah, where is he?
Right there.
Hey!
What's he doing? Messing with-
Aborting nasty kitties.
So down here we have beehive number 2. This is a new hive. This one's much smaller. You know, you can tell by there aren't as nearly as many bees as there are on the other hive. And this one's only got 2 there, where the other one has a whole nother frame on top. But hopefully this one will do well here too, because there's plenty of stuff for them to feed on. So hopefully this beehive will get big and then split, and Paul will come out and harvest the honey. Over here we have, this is milkweed, which was growing here when we moved in. I was going to get rid of it, but Paul says it's real good for the bees, so we're going to let this one area right here grow with milkweed for the bees. And then over here, are the potato plants. So this one, and this one are all indeterminate. So in theory, we can keep building it up. That's why you see all these different frames here. We keep making it higher and higher and adding dirt. So what it's supposed to do is on each level throw out more and more potatoes. So that's what we're going to do with these three. Now this one over here is a determinate potato, which will only grow one level of potatoes. That's why it's not built up like the other ones. And we're letting the plants get real tall. But it's called sangria, and it's a red potato. The rest of those other three are russet Burbanks. So that's our potato experiment this year. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully we get a ton of potatoes. And we got more pumpkins here, pumpkins and melons. Pretty sure the big ones are the pumpkins. And these are just growing. We've got grass mulch in it. Things keep growing through, of course. More milkweed, but I keep mowing the grass and then throwing it on there as mulch, and they're doing real well. Better than these over here. These have cardboard and then mulch under it, and then we planted into that, and they're doing okay. They don't seem to be doing as good as the ones we planted directly into the ground that are just mulch. So we're gonna walk this way over to lounge number 2. So this is lounge number 2. We have another picnic table over here. We sit here in the mornings and have coffee, or we'll have dinner out here. Right now there's a hammock up because Michael is sleeping out here in the hammock because he likes to do that. But we got here, the girls went ahead and put rocks around the trees and planted some flowers to make it look a little nicer. We have another fire pit out here too. But this is a nice place. It's under the trees. It's always nice and cool over here. So it's just another place that we hang out. Now over this way, this is mulch that we brought up from down below, but I pretty much use this mulch strictly for compost. So when I mow, I'll mix that with grass and water it in over here, and these are my other 2 compost piles. So we just turn them, keep it going, add water, keep turning them, and then what I'll end up doing is sifting this eventually too for some good compost. And there's probably tons of worms in here, I would think. Nope, I'm not finding any. Oh, there usually are. See, now I want to find the worms. Up. Nope, that's not a worm. Up, there we go. Worm, worm. Worm, worm. So yeah, there's tons of worms in this stuff. So I just need to turn it over. Whenever I turn it over, there's worms everywhere. So here's our garden bed. I built these beds out of corrugated roofing, metal roofing, and cedar deck boards and cedar 4x4s. Each one's 4x8. It's about 26 cubic feet worth of soil. We filled it up with composted mulch, regular mulch, and topped it off with cow manure and potting soil. So we've got cucumbers here, which we hope we're gonna trellis up this once they get going. Over here, we've got a couple peas and beans. So we hope to trellis those as well. Just get them, work them up, climb it up the metal panel here. But of course, things grow slower here than they do down in Florida. So that's why yours are done and these are still growing. So we've got bell peppers. We've got sunflower seeds in the middle. She grew she put some asparagus in here, which takes, I think, at least a year before it does anything. So again, a lot of this is just experimental. We've got over here, we've got Thai basil. It's really small though. And bell peppers, we've got some more flowers. Here we've got coneflowers and what are those, Kennedy?
Marigolds.
Marigolds. Over here we've got some more beans, I believe. And Rebecca actually planted some radishes. You can see that right there. But again, she's got sunflower seeds in the middle. I can't remember what this is.
Is that the smell good stuff?
Yeah, it smells lemony. Lemon balm, maybe? Can't remember. This is our tomato bed. Right now there's only, we can only find 2 tomatoes so far. One here, but there's another one coming right next to it, little baby one there. And then over here, we've got another one with the tomato there. So hopefully they're popping out all over with tomatoes, because you know, you've probably gotten a million tomatoes and we haven't gotten any. Here we have, again, more flowers mixed in, the marigolds and the coneflowers. We have spinach, we have kale, we have cilantro, basil, onions, so we're not sure. We've got 5 beds. We may do more next year. Not 100% positive. And in the front, of course, we put more flowers. We got more hydrangeas, marigolds, coneflowers. And now to the chickens. So right now we have 6 chickens in here. We have, what kind of chickens, Kennedy?
Sapphire, gin, and black Australope.
Australope. Yeah, we have 3 of each. And we really don't have to do a whole lot for them. We've got mulch. We're gonna keep adding mulch until it's actually full. They keep digging it up, so we're gonna keep bringing it in and adding it, let them spread it out. The waterers are automatic. All they have to do is peck on that, and then it lets some water out. See, if I hold my finger down, then it'll actually fill it up. But all they have to do is peck and get some. Since we put these together, we haven't filled them yet, even though this one's getting close. And this one,
that one's like full still.
This one's full because this one's
crazy.
a little bit different. This has little cups on it, and this has like little nipples, and I think they prefer these, so they drink more out of these. But again, we just fill it up once, and then it's weeks before we have to do anything else. And then our feeders, which Kennedy made. These are our J feeders. Basically, you open it up, you pour the food in, and then the food's at the bottom, and they just feed themselves. So we fill that up, and hopefully we won't have to touch it again for at least a couple weeks. But no eggs yet. We probably won't get eggs.
Another 2 months, maybe?
Probably another 2 months, yeah. So, the coop is made out of hardware cloth. Same thing the sifters were made of. And what we did was, we have a frame and we put the hardware cloth up and we basically at the seams we put it between 2 pieces of wood that we screwed together. The top is actually chicken wire, but as far as this goes, we did this so raccoons can't get in and stuff like that, just basically to keep the chickens safe. You know. So we have, this is the door we come in and out, which opens this way, it's on hinges. We have these little slide locks here. Now, this other side here, because we know we're gonna have to clean it at some point. Basically, this whole thing also has these slide locks. One there. Oh, is that the only one?
Yes.
Okay. And this whole piece, it's on hinges as well. All we have to do is pull this whole thing up and we'll wedge a piece of wood under it, and then we can pull out the whole coop and then take all the mulch out, do it in a day, and that'll be new compost, and then we'll fill it up with mulch again. Now, so we're hoping we only have to do this twice a year. I mean, because right now they've been in here for couple months, right? And there's no smell because they just, you know, because of all the mulch, they just keep turning it, so there's no smell, which is great. And hopefully they're making compost for me. So that's that on the chicken coop. Now inside the house we do have 4 more little baby chicks that we just got, so we're gonna have a total of 10 chickens. The 4 that we just bought are Polish chickens. They have a weird headdress. Want to go up and look at them real quick?
It looks like little afros.
I know. Look at Blue. Look, he's bringing that thing around.
The mole?
Yeah, that's what's over there.
Blue.
Is it still on?
Yeah.
Okay, let that go.
Oh, look at the babies.
I know. These smell more than the ones outside.
Oh my gosh, they look so big on camera.
Where's the 4th one? Back here. There we go. Yeah, so we have them with the heat lamp. We're probably gonna, we have a different, we have a cage we're gonna put them in inside the big cage outside once they're big enough. But for now, we're gonna keep them inside for at least a week or 2 before we take them outside. But that's basically it for the farm tour. So, hope you liked the video.